Welcome to Soul Purpose Healing. Tonight is all about love, defining, refining, going deep, and getting the true meaning of love. So, we want to start out with some beautiful music on First Corinthians um, chapter 13, which says it all.
If I speak in the tongues of men and of angels, but have not love, I am a noisy gong or a clanging cymbal. And if I have prophetic powers and understand all mysteries and all knowledge, and if I have all faith so as to remove mountains, but have not love, I am nothing. If I give away all I have, if I deliver up my body to be burned, but have not love, I gain nothing. Love is patient and kind. Love does not envy or boast. It is not arrogant or rude. It does not insist on its own way. It is not irritable or resentful. It does not rejoice at wrongdoing, but rejoices with the truth. Love bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things. Love never ends. As for prophecies, they will pass away. As for tongues, they will cease. As for knowledge, it will pass away. For we know in part, and we prophesy in part. But when the perfect comes, the partial will pass away. When I was a child, I spoke like a child, I thought like a child, I reasoned like a child. When I became a man, I gave up childish ways. For now we see in a mirror dimly, but then face to face. Now I know in part, then I shall know fully, even as I have been fully known. So now faith, hope, and love abide these three, but the greatest of these is love.
So, that song represents for many of us the love energy we grew up with. We grew up with music, singing love songs, and expressing love to our families, our friends, our boyfriends, our girlfriends. But tonight we want to get into the true meaning of love, a deeper meaning, even because today love is confusing. It is just people don't know because many of us in our childhood, I have a friend who had a very abusive childhood, and actually the only love he received was the food that his abusive caretaker fed him. That was, the food was great growing up in an abusive home, but the only love that he remembers was food. So to this day, he feels love when he eats food. Certain foods make him feel that energy of comfort, of joy, even. And so many of our human beings become addicted to food because that's the love they felt when they grew up. If there was no human expression of love, then they're confused all their life as to what love really is. And then the other part of that is sex becomes the drug of love for many who grow up in those type of families, so that they become addicted to the feeling of sexual energy because that feels good. So tonight, because my sister Beth, let's see, I got me on speaker. Because my sister Beth has brought together friends and artists like Emak and Van Dorn. I hope Van Dorn can join us. Van Dorn is stuck in email land. I have sent Van Dorn 3 emails, and somehow he's not able to connect yet. So we might have to have Van Dorn on the phone to share his art and his poetry, which is just amazing. In fact, this is Van Dorn's art here that is on the cover of my book. He is a master at sacred geometry, and so we hope he can join us. But tonight, my brother Imak, a poet, an artist, and a musician, and so much more is here, and I'm so grateful. And Beth had an emergency, so we're here. And let me put this title up again, because we're talking about unfailing love, the power to overcome. And so by the end of the show, we want to give you the power to overcome tonight. And that's because my brother Imak and I and Beth and another brother, we talked yesterday about this subject, and I didn't realize how deep this subject could go until we brought out our own personal experiences of love, which are very different. As I said, if you it depends a lot on your childhood, what you define love as. And then as we grow, we make choices. And I don't think, Imak, that we make mistakes. We just make choices that help us learn the lessons we need to learn on this part of our journey, right? So Imak, I want you to introduce yourself to the audience. Tell them a little bit about your own childhood, if you will, and then how you have grown into this amazing artist and musician and poet that is here to define and establish the true love that is power to overcome.
Greetings, everyone. Thanks for having me, first of all.
You.
Um, my name, as some of you might know, is Imak. My full Egyptian name is Imak Kridu Anak. Um, I'm a recording artist, producer, rapper, philosopher. I teach metaphysics. I'm a Nuwapian, the student teacher, the master teacher, His Excellency Dr. Malachi York. And I'm just here on that beautiful journey, on behalf of soul, to enjoy this wonderful human experience. As far as my childhood, I had a wonderful childhood. Had wonderful parents who raised me right with the right values. Doesn't mean that everything always went right, but that's where that's the beginnings of learning what love is. When things don't go right, it's easy to know what to do when things is everything is good. But when challenges come, that's where you learn to grow, and that's where you begin to expand. So because love is ever expanding and growing and trying to correct itself, because love is also studying itself on how to love more. And a lot of times what happens is that in some people that might have bad childhoods or bad memories, you know what I mean, is it's just love. That's love's way of using a mirror reflection of itself to kind of shine a light on what needs attention, something that's not getting attention. Just like when you exhibit pain or infliction from the pain that you feel in your body is the body letting you know that something needs attention. And a lot of times, in those challenges, love is facing these things for the first time. This is all new to love. So what we are is aiders in the Most High, as in being aiders of the Most High. We're also striving to expand what love is and what love can be. So it's not completely defined yet. That's why we probably go through some of the back and forth about what love is, because love can be so many things, because it's like 8 billion people on the planet. Some people going through worse things than others. There's war overseas and stuff like that. That's just personal traumas here, right here in our own home country. Deprivation, lack of equality or justice and things like that we're all striving for. So love can manifest itself in many forms. And what I've come to learn in the teachings of metaphysics and acquiring wisdom is that instead of getting caught up in the entanglement of trying to define what love is and trying to put it in a box or trying to quantify it some kind of way, the easiest way to understand what love is just to acceptance, acknowledgement, and allowance. You can't lose with that. It doesn't mean that you're giving up. It just means that you're gaining an understanding about what's taking place. And then you can start to seek the higher form of thinking, which is reasoning. Reasoning is the highest form of thinking, because now you start to deliberate around a particular issue about what is the best course of action. And once what love manifests in those challenges, that's new to love, is a course correction or an adjustment. And in those course corrections and those adjustments, love finds a new way. Love always finds a way. So even in hate, even in jealousy, even in sadness, love is learning about itself, going through its own transitions. We as human beings in the human construct, are made up of emotions. In our human conscious construct, it's made up of 3 levels within the physical consciousness, and one is thoughts, and that's where your belief systems govern how you approach the world, how you approach life. Thoughts, emotions, how you feel about those belief systems and how they project out into the world and the perfections that come back to you. See, thoughts, emotions, and the physical action, if you decide to move on those emotions. So that's why a lot of times a lashing out, an abuse, a criminal behavior, is when people decide to drop to a lower form of vibration in their existence and take a physical action that creates further discourse to try to kind of repair what's missing, that aspect of love that's missing, a lack of money, a lack of support, a lack of love, a lack of attention, et cetera, et cetera. So us on the outside that may not have dropped it that far down may look at that as, oh no, that's unscrupulous behavior. That needs to be cut off and chopped down and this and that and the other. When in actuality, what might really need to be done is just an example to be set on what love can be for those that haven't had the opportunity to experience love at its highest vibration. And that's all it is. Some people vibrate high, some people vibrate low, and everything in between. So in order to show those on the lower vibrational scale about what love can be, it has to be seen and shown and demonstrated. But a lot of times what we do on a higher vibration is condemn those on a lower vibration. And then they continue to feel more lack of love. And justifiably so for some of the things that's going on in this world. But sometimes a loss of life is a push. Sometimes a loss of life is a push for those in the living to expand on better ideas of love, on thinking and living.
Very well said. And the fact that you are writing songs and music and poetry, it speaks to the times of genius to me is coming out. And like you just said, that you're expressing your experience with love and the energy around it. But the fact that you are creating something just like Van Dorn in a time where we really need our genius to come out. I think this is what's going to help us move to the fourth dimension is when everyone starts using their genius mind. And that's what I see in you and Van Dorn. Van Dorn and has tapped us into sacred geometry, something I wasn't fully aware of. I mean, it's everywhere. It's even in our bodies. That's what I'm discovering. Once I got introduced to Van Dorn, and he's here. Let me bring him in. Okay, Van Dorn is here. Can you hear us? Can't hear you. Where's your mic? So his mouth is moving, but we don't have him on the mic yet. But we got progress here. He's here.
Okay.
You
Can
see it?
you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Okay. I just wanted to chime in because it turns out that there is no place that sacred geometry does not exist.
Exactly. Exactly.
We swim in an ocean of consciousness, and that ocean of consciousness is water. And once we wake up to that reality, we will be able to reclaim what we either lost, has stolen from us, or we gave away. Okay, so I just wanted to add that. I just wanted to chime in. There is no place where there is not sacred geometry. There's some street poetry that I cannot use here to describe what I think about this situation, but the masses have been manipulated into an abyss of unconsciousness. And that abyss of unconsciousness is where the problem lay. There are those of us who are awake in the matrix who understand exactly what it is required of us to unlock the door of consciousness within the masses. And so we're doing that through visual art, through the spoken word, through music, through poetry, through dance, through drama. We are the ones that we have been waiting for, and we are actually the wake-up call. We're like the tip of the arrow that is to pierce darkness and to illuminate consciousness of the masses. So, we're here to stay. There is no turning back. And for those who are asleep, there's no place to hide. Because we
hide under your covers.
we take no prisoners.
Yeah.
Okay. So thank you for letting me chime in.
Well, I'm glad you got it all. I was just saying, okay, the spirit worked this out, and so you did. And I want to ask you though, sacred geometry is in everything. So why?
Oh, it is everything.
It is everything.
In everything. It is everything.
It is everything.
There is no organization of matter where sacred geometry does not exist. Zero organization of matter. So whether it's at the atomic level, the molecular level, the cellular level, the body that we inhabit, or the ocean of consciousness that we swim in, it's all sacred geometry, and it's all divinely organized. And consciousness cannot perform outside of the context that we live in, which is an ocean of energy that includes water. Water is the most precious item in the universe. It is everywhere. We've been told lies about water doesn't exist in outer space. And so science is trying to sneak that in slowly about, oh, yes, there's water in outer space and there's ice crystals, et cetera, et cetera. The fact is that water is everywhere. And the deceit is too deep for me to try to talk to right now. So let's go someplace. Let's have a wonderful visit tonight. But I definitely want us to clear up one fact. Sacred geometry is everything. It is everywhere. And you don't have to use that term. You can just use the term divine order instead of saying sacred geometry. Sacred geometry is a code word that human beings have been programmed to look at as pointing in the direction of divine truth and I guess we'll say consciousness itself.
So on that note, you mentioned water. I want to play Imok's music, which touches on what you just said. And then we can have Imok. I've got it on my iTunes. That's the only way I could get that to play. So I hope everybody will be able to hear it because this is a song about water. Infinite Sea is what it's called. So let's listen to this Infinite Sea, which is just perfect for what you just outlined, Van Dorn, about the shapes of sacred shapes that are in everything, especially the water. So let me see if we can hear this. Can you hear it?
Put it all together, it ain't hard to see. Cosmic flow, flowing through the infinite sea. In the mirror, all I see is the infinite me. Shifted realities, multi-dimensionally. See, there are different forms of wisdom and enlightenment. Different types of spiritual training and development. I'm pulling the muscle, I'm pulling the hustle. I'm sure you could throw it even better than muscle. And then you can feel me down to the core puzzle. I'm wrestling with the spirit. It might be a tussle with spirit God. We huddle so we can rebuttal the deeper the message. Sometimes it's more muffled and muddled, new dimensions. After we go through a worm tunnel, it's soft and subtle, that's why I'm quiet and humble. There's to learn a lesson in every challenge is trouble. Seeing it better than humble, blending it like a bubble. If you didn't know it is, you either big double. Overlapping love, making like the love of a couple. Jumping high, frequency higher than Mario. I'ma get you all down with this new scenario. So put it all together, it ain't hard to see. Cosmic flow, flowing through the infinite sea. In the mirror, all I see is the infinite me. Shifted realities, multi-dimensionally. Put it all together, it ain't hard to see. Cosmic flow, flowing through the infinite sea. In the mirror, all I see is the infinite me. Shifted realities, multi-dimensionally. I'm the Nimrod, I built the tower, lo and behold. Snake in the garden, the arms, I built the city of gold. United the people to make a name for ourselves. True path to enlightenment, it's like not for yourselves. Communication with my higher mind and my imagination. Dreams coming true with my visualization. Letting go all the concerns of the day. In order to find the inner peace, I do it this way. Stripping in the conduit, I keep it refined. Communication with the higher in the physical mind. I ain't just wishing, I'm bringing things to fruition above and I love it all. I don't have to be distant. Man from planet risk. The time was now, the past and the future. I'm alternate now. I rap about how we can make life better and how to endure through the rough and stormy weather. Everything is synchronism, it's an experiment. The more you focus on it, the more you experience. If you're a universe, you're a dimension. Course correction, introspection helps with ascension, not just a drop in the ocean. Look what I got, I'm the mighty ocean. Inside of the drop, like when I'm dropping it hits the survival of it. Assimilation, the world is filled with bites and bits. The skies and the stars will make music inside you. From Atlantis to Egypt, the knowledge will remind you. It might even refine you, but it won't confine you. But watch out for the light, because it can blind you. Without me, there's nothing. With me, there's everything. My decision is higher wisdom, that's what I bring. The infinite seas. A finite moment. It's alright if I order, even against my opponents. It's broken, so what? I can fix the components. I couldn't speak for the creator, but I've always known that it's alright for me to know what I do not know. In any season, it just gives me a reason to show. So put it all together, it ain't hard to see. Cosmic boat, flowing through the infinite sea. In the mirror, all I see is the infinite me. Shifted realities, multidimensionally. See.
All right, all right, all right. All right, Imok. Let me open. Let me open.
Please send me the lyrics so that I can read them. Okay.
Definitely. Bless.
Imok, tell me how that creation came about, because music is my first love. So when I hear that beat with all those words, it just really just sends tingles down my spine and in my skin. So tell me how that creation came about. And we're all smiling. I know Vessie Van Dorn smiling. We're just smiling because it really does speak to us.
Awesome. In the exploration of metaphysics and understanding the nature of existence, I've come to learn, because I didn't always know this myself, even as conscious as I might have thought I might have been, that the learning process, a lot of it stems from when we have our struggles, as I was saying before, and that's how how to make course corrections along the way. So it's how you respond to those struggles that makes the difference in the learning process and what's developed. So do you seek out to hurt or harm someone, or which is a reflection of a cry for help? Someone sending a message that I'm suffering and I'm at a loss and I'm trying to fill or fix something broken, and I'm not getting help and I'm not being heard. So that's where criminal behavior really comes from. So once you understand the psychology of it, you learn to balance out the darkness and the light, because you can be blinded by both. Both the light and the dark come from the same point, right? Now, light is born out of darkness, but light can blind. So that's why I said in the song, light can blind you, but light can also lead the way. So it's a matter of finding purpose. And a lot of times what people are suffering from is a lack of purpose and a lack of direction. But if they've already experienced that, how do you begin the reformation process or the indemnification process, the suffering, what I mean, fulfilling those that have suffered a loss, once the damage is done. And the process to that is understanding, and then the overstanding. You want to be standing over the information, not under the information. And then you want to grow to enlightenment. And enlightenment, as I mentioned in the song, like a lot of times, a lot of hate and war and things that's going on around the world that we don't like, that make us upset and sick to our stomach, is due to a lot of people being too tight, too tense. They're in a race, or they eluded themselves by way of their belief systems to think themselves in a race or a competition, and that makes things stressful. And enlightenment, the reason why it's called enlightenment, because it means to lighten up, literally, on yourselves.
And
Accept
bring in more light. When you are enlightened, you are bringing in more light from universal energy. And what Van Dorn pointed out is the geometry that we are not aware of, like we should be, is coming out of us. It's already in us, and it's coming out of us.
So the mechanism, as you just eloquently put, is already built in. Even in those that we see suffering from war or engaging in war, there's some background noise. I don't know where it's coming from.
Where's that background noise coming from? I don't know. Let me see for a minute. It's not on me. So I think, nope, it's not from you.
Somebody's eating something. I think there we go. So
I think it's you, Van Dorn. I muted your mic, and so it stopped when I muted your mic. So I don't know what. Let me.
No, it didn't stop on this end.
Huh?
No, that static is still happening. Now it's stopped. But can you hear me? Okay, the static stopped, but it wasn't on my end, because after you muted me, it continued.
Yeah, but we didn't hear it. When I muted you, you can hear it again.
It's on your end. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's on your
okay,
end.
well then,
Yeah.
I'm gonna. I don't know what that could be.
Well, mute yourself for a moment. Have you muted yourself yet? Viyahta, can you raise your hand? Did you mute yourself? And it isn't happening anymore. Right, it isn't happening. Am I speak?
Yeah, can y'all hear me? Can I be heard?
Oh, yeah, it's happening when you speak.
It's happening when I speak.
Yeah. Anyway.
It might be a little feedback. I don't know.
Is it happening when I speak?
Yes.
Does the static happen when I'm speaking?
When I mute you, I don't hear it. But when your mic is open, let me see. Okay, I muted Van Dorn. I don't hear it. I can
Neither
Imad, are
do
you hearing anything?
I. I don't hear it.
I don't hear it when I mute you, Van Dorn. We don't hear it. But when we open your mic, we can hear it again.
Let me say this. What is happening is that when each one of us speak, the other two people hear the static. Do you all hear static now? I don't. I'm unmuted and I don't hear any static.
I didn't hear it this time.
Yeah, but when I hear you all speak, I hear static.
Anyway, we're gonna just carry over the and
Welcome to the conversation.
going. So let me mute Iman, let me mute you and see if we can get Van Dorn to share his poetry. And I'm gonna mute me, and I'm gonna let you, Van Dorn, share. Do you have some of your poetry you can share, like that piece of art that we had?
Can you do a screen share with the artwork? Can you do a screen share with the artwork? Hello. Can you do a screen share with the artwork?
Can you send it to me? There it is again. It sounds like somebody's crunching on potato chips or something.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, private
Right.
chat. Now you got a private chat. Can you do a screen share with my art? Yeah, if you send it, I don't know where it is. If you send it to me, yeah, I can. If you have it on, if you present it. But in the meantime, Imak, have you created? Do you have a whole album?
Yes, there's an album out there called what's this album?
Or
Radiant Alchemy. Radiant Alchemy.
Radiant Alchemy?
Yes, it's on Amazon, it's on Spotify, it's everywhere, it's on Pandora. There's a slew of songs, album length of materials, like a mixtape uh, for of some conscious material that I have been putting out. You'll find that on Pandora. On Pandora, so just type in EMAKH, capital EMAKH, and you should be able to find it. I'm on all the streaming platforms, so you should be able to find it. But that album, Radiant Alchemy, is like number
You know what, Van
one.
Dorn? Give me your email,
You know,
your website, and I'll pull
it's
that up.
accomplishment in itself.
If you want to type that in the chat, I'll pull that up. So
Say
you're
that
still
again.
no, I was telling Van Dorn
Oh,
to
okay.
give me his
Sure.
website, and I'll share that on the screen, and maybe we can do it that way because I'm not sure if he can share it with me. So you're just ongoing creating music and poetry, right? Did you write that song, the music for that song? Infinite
No,
Sea.
I have different. I work with different producers, that produce the music for me. I just key in on what it is that I'm feeling, the mood and the mode of how I want the song to go. I'm trying to reach audiences that are wide range, not too young, not too old, but can unify all generations, with the right content and the right message. A lot of the songs throughout the generations since I don't know, you go far back as the 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, on up to now, are all sad songs. She done me wrong songs. He done me wrong songs with no answers. And when we do, and when we some of the other songs, I mean, some good songs out there too that are inspirational. But everybody doesn't gravitate to the church. In some religions, music is considered a sin. So what I try to do, um, what I am doing with the music that I create and the lyrics that I come up with is specific answers to how existence works, answers that you can use. And one of those things that I learned was that we all live in what's called an infinite sea of possibilities. We're shifting through a billion frames a second, and that gives us the illusion of movement. It also helps us to create space and time. So when we're talking about trying to fix problems where there is no love, it's really not a problem at all. It's already fixed. It's a matter of focusing on the timeline and the reality that you want to experience. And a lot of times what I've noticed in teaching metaphysics to people is that they don't realize that whatever they are going through, whatever it is that they are experiencing, is because as a soul, not so much as the human, but as a soul, they've attracted those things to them. They've attracted those negative, going on to themselves for a reason. 9 times out of 10, because it's a lesson that needs to be learned. Basically, it's like the religious way of saying God wouldn't put anything before you that you couldn't handle. So you're witnessing and seeing it so that there can be a witness. Someone needs to witness that there is an issue here that where love is needed, and there's not enough here. Love needs to grow here. Love needs to grow there. So sometimes when we're seeing the negative on the other side of the world, it's a reflection on us to say, well, we don't want war over here because of what's going on over there. So you learn a lot of what you do prefer by experiencing what it is you don't prefer, or how would you know? You see what I'm saying? So darkness and light can be balanced. We have the ability, especially as melanated people, to absorb the hate, to absorb the jealousy, the anger. We can absorb it and then convert the energy. You can't destroy it. Matter can't be destroyed, only transferred to a new form of energy on a higher state, on a higher vibrational level. So with the sacred geometry, that's a mechanism that's built in, because everything is made from that sacred geometry, including the darkness and that which we look at as being without love. Now, real quick, what we do a lot of times is that we'll say hate and crime are all, we call it different names, jealousy, enviousness, and these other names are just really love in a different form on a lower vibration. But in order to identify it, we give it a name. That's hate, that's jealousy, that's judgment, that's persecution, that's that. But it's really love at the opposite end of itself. So we're responsible for kind of showing what love really is about itself by exploring both ends and then bringing them into balance and then harmony. And that exists on higher vibrational fields. So that's why lower vibrational conduct or behavior exists, but it can't go any higher than where it vibrates. You can't perceive any vibration that you yourself are not on. So we're only seeing negative reflections of these vibrations because we're also on those vibrations, if for no other reason, for exploration and understanding. We're scientists, souls having a human experience to learn what it's like to transmutate negative energy to positive. We're already in the fourth dimension by virtue of the fact that we are here on this show having this topic, sharing our ideas and views about what love is not, and what can we do to grow more love and light, et cetera, et cetera. If that's so, we already are existing in the fourth dimension. We're not just existing in the three-dimensional construct where we're isolated and shut off. And that's the attribute, one of the many things that I can say about love and learning about love and what we can do, to harness its power for the greater good.
So I love how you are taking the the feeling of love, the expression of love, the dimensional aspects of love to another level of understanding. And we want to talk a little bit more about uh, the love, the lack of love, the why people are not overcoming with love. Because tonight we're talking about unfailing love, the power to overcome. We want to talk about what is missing that people are not overcoming, that we have so much hatred right now being expressed, like on TikTok and social media, and murders and things. But first, while we got Van Dorn back again, he disappeared for a while. So I want you to help us, guide us through your website. The love in these artwork. Oh my goodness, it's so
That's
powerful.
awesome.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear
Yes.
Oh,
you.
okay. I'm reminded of a beautiful lesson that was taught to Carlos Castaneda by the Yaqui Indian sorcerers. There's a book called The Fire from Within, which tells the story of Don Juan Matus, chapter 2 at least. It's called The Petty Tyrant. So what I want to speak to is something that very few people in the spiritual practices have a full comprehension of, and that is this aspect that we talk about, calling it our nemesis. It is my suspicion and my contention that the nemesis is kind of like a sergeant, a drill sergeant, attempting to train us so that we can become strong and realize that we can own our power and walk in integrity as autonomous agents in the matrix, and we can learn how to serve others towards the ends of waking up in the matrix and remembering that we are love. Everybody is love. There is only one. My brother, you are an absolute beautiful wordsmith. Okay, Imak,
Yes.
you just saying this almost brings me to tears. Okay, you don't know the kind of word crafting that I've been engaged with, but you and I have something in common that I want to make a proposition to you right now. Let us join forces. Let us do some crazy word crafting and turn this into music so that we can actually turn the volume up on the wake up call. We have this beautiful potential. We have the power. It is embodied in us. So I am proposing to you right now to collaborate. Please let us collaborate. Let us imagineer some lyrics for some songs that will just have people saying, "Where do I sign up? How how,
Right.
how fast can I sign up to join
Yeah.
this?" I'll use the word army of conscious co-workers, because what we are doing is we are imagineering right now in this conversation. The three of us on this forum are imagineering a greater wake-up call than what has actually been put into play before. So I'm simply saying that this thing that we call love, it is ours. And so the idea is that we have to help to engender a remembering, and remember means put back together. Okay, I know we all know that, those of us who are on the call, but remembering means to put back together. And once again, the words that I spoke earlier tonight, what we lost had stolen from us, or that we gave away, those words came to me 2 decades ago or more from Greg Braden. And yes, he got it from somebody else. It doesn't matter. The point is, we recognize truth when we hear it. So our job is to reclaim what we had stolen from us, what we lost, or what we gave away. And it doesn't matter which label you use. It's all the same. Something was lost, something was stolen, something was given away. Now it is our job to reclaim that. And what we have to reclaim is an awareness that we are love. That's all that we are. Right. And
Well,
so, yes, go ahead, please.
and Mama AZ's on the line too. We'll
Down
let
with
you
that.
get to her in a minute. But this is what we concluded in our initial conversation a couple of days ago was Yes, we are loved because the kingdom within us is all love. And so I'm just so excited about what you're proposing, Van Doren, to Imok, that you collaborate to bring out the real power of his words and your energy and your words and your art. Oh, I just see something really powerful coming from that. But yes, we are loved because this is the kingdom inside, and it is all love. I think about, I saw a woman give birth today. It's a natural birth video on Instagram. And when that baby came out, whoa, it was like it brings tears to your eyes, to in a tub of water. I wasn't in a hospital. It was in a tub of water. And it seemed like the baby was going to drown because the baby was underwater. The head was out, and mom couldn't push the baby out. And the baby was just sitting underwater, and they're filming this. And I'm like, how's the baby? And I'm like, it's all love. It's all love. Because the construction of that baby was all love. And then the fact that that baby could just sit there underwater until mom pushed the baby out was all love. So we are awakening to the reality, to the awareness, consciousness that yes, the love is here in us, and we, you and he and I, we want to bring it out. We want to bring it out. All those people who are expressing hatred, we want to bring out the love because they're so lost in their hatred and their confusion. And Mama AZ, I'm going to go ahead and open your mic at this time. Did you have a comment?
Hatred is simply a state of a lack of self-awareness. Okay, hatred can only happen when one doesn't know who and what they are.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
So that has to be the not knowing has to be replaced with knowing, and to know oneself as being one with Creator, with essence, with God, whatever term you want to use. That means that you got to get still and quiet, and so that you can have that direct link. And when you have that direct link, you actually do shine. The more light pours through you, and more light touches the world. So our job is to, first of all, do more activation of this quality of consciousness that we call love in ourselves, so that we can radiate more or allow more of that light to shine through us and to touch others, because all we're doing is simply awakening something that's been asleep in ourselves and in others. So, I remember Martin Luther King Jr. was spat on one time, and he took a handkerchief and he wiped it off of his clothes, and he offered it to the man who spat on him and said, "Sir, I believe this belongs to you." Now, that's some powerful medicine right there, okay? No matter what people think about Martin Luther King Jr., because there are detractors in terms of his legacy, to actually be able to stand there and make that type of gesture to someone who is filled with terror, that would take such an act, just simply fascinating. But let's move forward, please.
Okay, I'm going to let Mama AZ chime in for a minute. Go ahead, sister.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Greetings, my beautiful, beautiful metaphysical brothers. Brother Imok and Brother Van Doren. Today, if you add up all the digits, I believe it comes to a 1. Is that correct?
Yeah, it should be, because yesterday was a 9, I think.
Okay. That represents planting seeds that you may not see come to fruition in this lifetime, but is what it represents. And especially you, Brother Van Doren, I was given the opportunity back in 2020 to do a vision quest at the resting site of Reverend A.A. Allen. And for those who do not know who Reverend A.A. Allen is, or it well is still, even though he may be on the other side, that he was such a phenomenal, hollow reed, hollow bone, and being called Cherokee made him even more, that much more powerful. Look at that. Dorn was given to me through spirit by Reverend A. Allen and Shogi Offende because of sacred geometry. And you're right, Brother Van Dorn. Sacred geometry is in everything, and that is what Allen constantly delivers to me, along with the people of other references. And Brother Imam is on the scene in my circle because of Malachi York. Malachi York was introduced to me, a powerful brother as far as I'm concerned, back in the early 80s. And it's just phenomenal. I was introduced to him by this little beautiful sister, Sabora Jackson. And the rest is history. And for these two brothers to be on the platform today, Dr. V, and it's a one, it's huge. We're planting seed. It's a huge seed planter. And water is extremely important. And these are the times that we must learn to honor our space, be alone if it's necessary, so that we can really figure out what our mission is and how we go about it in a good way. And if there are enough people who are on your same page, you better drop them with a heartbeat now. It's coming to a time where we really don't have time for BSing by the freeway any longer. And don't be afraid if you have to be on your own, because you're never alone. Thank us, Dr. V. I can go on and on and on.
I know.
Thank us, Brother Imam. Thank us, Brother Van Dorn. And thank us, Dr. V. We appreciate you. Peace.
All right. Anybody want to comment on that?
Alone. The word alone, A-L-O-N-E. Let's change that to all one, okay? So anytime we talk about being alone,
Yes, sir.
We're actually talking about being all one.
Yes. Did you get that, family? Thank us. I'm going to go back to YouTube.
Okay. Thank you. Thank us.
Thank us. Yes. So
all one, alone. Ooh, let me write that down. All one, alone.
So I'm sure Imak has uncovered this. A word craftsman like you, Imak, has seen that one before. You know, alone equals all one. So what happens is there's a whole lot of confusion that is built into the equation, the English language. I tell people I refuse to use certain words like release. Instead of saying release, which means to take a lease out again, I say, what do I say? Gosh, I can't even think of it now. But anyway, there are words that I choose not to use, like I'm sorry. Instead of saying I'm sorry, I will say I apologize. And because words are actually, we get tripped up on words. I know a few people, some living and some deceased, who were like masterful at paying careful attention at the underlying meaning of words and where the root of the words come from. I haven't made a study of this, a careful study, but a few words I'm very much aware of that I refuse to use. So words like alone, all one, and then there was another word that Sister Arizona spoke, which is not coming to me now. Anyway, yes, thank you for posting those images on screen. I simply want to say to people that any of these patterns, they're called sacred geometry patterns, but they actually represent energetic signatures that emanate from consciousness embodied in water, in matter, in the human form, in the form of crystals, gemstones. So what you're looking at are like cross sections of energetic signatures that are, once again, are emanating from, I'll say, carriers of consciousness. And when I say carriers of consciousness, I'm talking about matter, okay? M-A-T-T-E-R, or M-A-T-T-E-R, yes. Matter is a carrier of consciousness, which means that it is a transmitter of consciousness, which means that consciousness is transmitting itself using matter as a transmitter and receiver. So all of us know about being intuitively connected. We're transmitting and receiving all of the time. Telepathy is a big deal today. I don't know if you all have heard of the telepathy tapes before.
No.
The telepathy tapes. So there are a group of autistic children who are meeting in a non-physical space that they call the Hill. And they have people working with them to help translate what they are thinking into the written word, so that people like us who don't have don't necessarily have a high telepathic functionability momentarily, for people like us to be able to know what they're thinking, okay? So the telepathy tapes are making a real big splash. Once again, this is one of the best kept secrets on the planet. Those who are choosing to be a challenge for, I'll call us freedom fighters, those individuals, we tend to think of them as enemies, but we can think of them as agents that cause us to galvanize. Every time you have a so-called enemy in any form, we could turn that thing around and think of those so-called enemies as being agents to help force us to wake up and own our power, because that's all this is. The show is wake up and own your power, now or later. Okay, that's what the call is. And so instead of hating on a so-called enemy, thank them. Thank you, instigator. Thank you, wannabe divider and conqueror, because all they're doing is inspiring us or challenging us, better yet, to wake up and own our power.
Yeah.
Which means to own our complicity in creation.
Yeah.
So our thoughts are things, and thoughts matter. In other words, thoughts become things. So the job is to help our people, and I mean, when I say our people, I'm talking about anybody here on the planet. Help our people wake up and remember that the realm of imagination is where God lives. And if you want to get with God, get clear on what your imagination is, because that's where God lives. Okay. For those who are engaged in a religion, don't hate on me, please, because that's a waste of your energy and mine too. But the time is now to remember who we are. Once again, put back together who we are. So I am consciousness, first and foremost, here to tell you, here to spell you, here to wake you up. Join me. This is a party, ladies and gentlemen, coming to you live. So anyway, let's wrap a bit more before we say goodnight to everybody tonight.
That's true. And we got a comment from Kwame here. Kwame says, Carlos Castaneda, the eagle's gift and a separate reality.
Yes, and yes again. Thank you. Yes.
So you know about that?
Yes, of course. Yeah. It's thanks to people. It's thanks to people like Carlos Castaneda, who has helped people to remember who and what they are. Okay. We are beings of agency. And so when we wake up in the matrix, we remember who and what we are. And that's how we come into greater service to humankind. So it's just a matter of time.
But we're in the transitional period too.
Thank you. Yes. Basu Nefert Ra Seshat, Robert Young says, awesome subject. Yes, Robert, awesome subject, brother. You got to know it. Yes. Who else is in the chat? Love is a gift. Robert Young says, love is a gift. Yes, love is the gift. Hello. That keeps on giving. Hello. Yeah. All right.
Oh, okay, he's on mute. Okay, well, that's so far. Those are the comments. But you know what you said about the enemy is meant to wake us up,
That's
and
their job. That's their job. That's their
yeah.
assignment.
Well, I think
That's their cosmic assignment. I'm sorry. Stop hating on the enemy. Find some love in your heart for that person or that entity or that institution that challenges you.
That's right.
Find
okay.
some.
I think about President Trump. So many people think he's the enemy, and I'm like, everything he's doing is challenging us to be more than we have been.
Hello.
So
Asking,
it's like
asking
maybe,
us to asking us to claim our power
yeah, yeah, yeah,
as,
yeah, yeah.
as
Instead,
individuals.
instead of hating on him, putting all that energy, so much energy going toward this man who has been assigned to be in that position. We put a lot of energy on hating him instead of saying, well, like I'm at the point of helping people realize if you're not going to have Section 8 anymore, it's time for you to go find some land and build your own damn house. That's all this means. Don't get upset. Homeless people, you're being thrown out of the city. They don't like you in the city. Okay, time to go buy some land like our ancestors did.
Join forces with those who have land.
Yes. Yes.
Create a community
Yes.
of meaning filled relationship. Okay,
That's
create
what
a
it's
community
about.
of meaning filled relationship. That's what we're being asked to do.
Yes.
Being asked to go someplace that we haven't been yet on this continent
Yes. Yes.
within the last several hundred years, and
Yeah.
that is to actually live in meaning filled community.
Yeah.
When people of African ancestry had when the enemy looked bigger and more gruesome, as in during the pre-civil rights time, we were forced to commune and to live in communities where we had to the best that we could meaning filled relationships. Okay, now there was always the house person and the what do you call it, the field person. We won't use the N word. Okay,
Yeah. The
but
house, the ninja, the house ninja.
yeah, the house. Okay, the house ninja and the field ninja. We
Yeah.
that's always been part of the equation, and
Yeah.
but it doesn't have to
That's
remain.
nice.
It doesn't have to remain that way
Right.
because with people who have deeper spirits, we can call a different order into being. It really is time for us to ask the question: how do we find meaningful relationship in communities? How do we establish meaningful relationship in communities? The time is now. So the catch is for people to realize that you can ask, where are those meaningful communities? We had a brother named Art Henson who passed several years ago, who had
Yeah.
a place up in Virginia. It's still there. I have not had any contact with the community, but that was a place where he was inviting people to come and live. The, the challenge that many people had was that, yes, this is the other website, Love Opera House of the Soul. That's a title that was given me maybe like 30 years ago. And I waited and waited and waited. And it was like 2 years ago that I published the book, Love Opera House of the Soul. So if you could scroll down just a little bit, dedicated to directing humankind's attention towards love's miraculous, hold on, you're going too fast. Please, towards love's miraculous and ever-present beauty. This book has been waiting for the right moment to be birthed. So anyway,
Well, back to Art Henson. You know,
yes,
there's a couple who is developing that property now. She's on YouTube a lot. And so, what were you saying about art? I stayed on that property as well for a few days,
okay,
and I think all of us who experienced that realize the potential in that in that property.
yes,
It's
great,
like
great,
we want to see something happen there.
yeah, right. Yeah, great potential. There was a restriction. I mean, I knew art quite well. One of the restrictions had to do with dietary restriction. At
Yes,
the time, people were told you cannot be a non-vegan. Okay, and,
right.
and so that was a problem for a number of people who wanted to join the community. So and a stumbling block, I guess I could say for many people. But
Yeah.
I haven't had any contact with the community, so I don't know anything. I appreciate you bringing up the fact that you have been there and that you recognize that there is information being made available in cyberspace. That's wonderful.
Yeah. So did you want me to scroll down more on this page?
You can. Let's see what happens. I'd love for us to see a few images, maybe. You know, uh,
So that's the book cover, right?
front and the back of the book cover, yes,
Okay.
and that's the
Love
cover.
is Opera House.
Mhm.
Okay. And then this is can you read that
The text in there,
yeah,
the text in the composition, or the text at the top.
the text in the composition.
The text in the composition, I'll have to intuit it. Uh, it is only when love sleeps that war can walk amongst us. And tell me who amongst us shall awaken love. Tell me, tell me it is you. I believe that's verbatim. But at the
Yeah.
bottom, yeah, at the bottom it says it is only when love sleeps that war can walk amongst us. And tell me who among us shall awaken love. Who shall awaken love? Tell me it is you. Yes. So, I've been crying or shouting to the top of my lungs, just like in Mach, for as long as I've been awake in the Matrix. Come on, folks, let's get with the program. Okay, love is the answer. They murdered John Lennon because John Lennon was an emissary of love. Yeah, and so let's just say that those who have been in the business of murdering love stories, let us imagine that those people are losing power even as we speak, and their power is being diminished even as we speak. We have to hold that vision, because without that vision, they're continuously empowered. Yes. So, in my estimation, to disempower them would be simply a matter of pooling our resources of awareness and focusing on a desired outcome. And that's the order of the day, and as far as I'm concerned, that's the task. Every moment, the task is to place our attention on a desired outcome. Now, not on a bunch of material that is being propagandized in the face of the masses, where the masses are being herded towards an abyss of unconsciousness, which is follow our lead. And when I say follow our lead, I'm talking about what is being distributed through mass media. We could say that turn our attentions away from what's being streamed through mass media. Focus on this quality that we're all endowed with, or all imbued with, and that's love. And see how far that can take us, because it can take us to the promised land. But we have to know that. We can't be wishing for it or guessing, oh, maybe it exists. No, you have to know that it is ours. Right.
Absolutely. Kwame is on the line. Kwame, your mic is open.
Yeah, and I'd like to thank my brothers for what they're sharing. And it's most important how we learn to use our words, because words are power. And I can see he takes and utilizes the formation of words, like he said, all is one. And the other part is that, and the thing in looking at words, and I thank my mom, who's now an ancestor, that had us, my sisters and brothers, we used to have competition and word puzzles, because you have to learn how to read words frontwards and backwards. And that's being able to decipher that, looking at the word live, and you look at the word on a page trying to find it, and you'll find when you see evil, you see live. If you see it, the word is lived, that means is that you look for devil and you'll find lived. So these are the ways in which we have to begin to understand, to reprogram the programs, because there's certain, like he's showing the sacred geometry and the vibration of a word. The part is that he's using in his book, and it's an excellent looking book, the part of love. Love stands for life's only valuable equivalent. There's nothing more greater than love. Life's only valuable equivalent.
May I interject one thing quickly? Check this out, brother. Here's another one. Light of voluntary evolution.
Yeah, but the only thing greater than love, life is, this is what we're having, the thing, the energy that gives life, and nothing more valuable than life, and that's the energy. And the other part is that evolution, evolution backwards, and this is the part that we have to understand. Evolution spelled backwards is know it, you love. So these are the ways in which we're going to be able to reprogram our mitochondria DNA, because we're now in our galaxy and in this solar system realigning with energies of planets and comets that we have, 3 ATL is up there. They got 2 more. We're in with the Kuiper Belt. We've got Sedna, these dwarf planets. All of these frequencies from these planets and dwarf planets and comets are changing the vibration of our words. So we're in a good time.
Yes, we are.
Thank us.
Yeah,
Thank
thank
us.
us.
Thank us. Yes.
All right, any comments, brothers?
It's also because we're going through dimensional shifts, and we went from a moon cycle to a sun cycle. We're moving from electric power to magnetic power. So, in the balancement of the two. And what's happening is the reason why you have a TikTok, you have a Instagram, Facebook, all these platforms is because you're seeing more than what you've seen before, but you're seeing both. You're seeing more of everything, the good and the bad. So, because that's what being in a transition means, that the ugliness is increasing, but so is the love is also increasing. So, what all you have to do is choose which part of the energy of love you want to represent. One can't destroy the other because they coexist. There's always, it's like the yin and yang symbol, there's always an aspect of darkness in the light, and there's always an aspect of light in the darkness. It's just balancement. That's all in how you respond to it. And everything comes down to choice and preference. Eventually, because we're grown from the planet. The planet is a plant that's grown from darkness and space, just like plants grow out of the soil. So what happens is the planet is shifting, living, breathing, and expanding. That's like we're living, breathing, and expanding. So as the planet shifts, we shift. Eventually, when enough of us magnetically come together to of the same vibration, then we will have just our, ideal place, community that vibrates on nothing but love, which vibrates a 500 frequency, according to J.R. Hawkins, who put a book out called The Map of Consciousness, where he was basically letting you know the power of words and where they exist in the field of frequency, and how some words vibrate on a low vibration of only 100 to 200, whereas a different word that expresses the same thing vibrates on a higher frequency. Like in words that dealing with happiness and joy actually works the brain, or they've measured this stuff, so they got it mapped out now. That's why it's called the map of consciousness. So it's already figured out. It's just about putting it all into physical action. One of the things I noticed as an artist, like in our conversation before, is that when it comes to conscious rap, it doesn't get the focus or the attention that the more negative music does, or most people are attracted to more sad songs. So that's why this was the whole Star Wars concept was about, because between the light and the dark, the promise to the Jedi warriors was that you can become more powerful with the hatred and with the darkness, and as opposed to the light side where you had to move more passively. So it just depends on how you're charged vibrationally, which one you lean more, which one you favor more than the other. You understand? So it's just another way of of looking at it. Why we're seeing some of the things that we're seeing, because it's just more of it now. With like before the year 2000, before platforms, you saw less. People were isolated in their particular churches or religions or whatever communities or whatever they were doing. Now that everything is globally connected, you see more of it. You can see devastations going on around the globe, in hoods, ghettos around the globe. They can see what was going on over here, just like they saw George Floyd and they reacted to it overseas. It was amazing to see that. I never seen that before. People in other countries watching what was happening over here, like, wow. And that sparked something in them. So that's what's changing, and that's what's forcing government to change. And eventually, we just have to create a space or a place for love to grow in the way that we want it to grow. And there's going to be some places that are just, oh, you can only eat vegan here, and then there's going to be some places where it's going to be, you don't have to be vegan, but it'll still be a community of love. It's in the ancient times they used to have what's called green zones and red zones, where the red zones were the meat eaters, the green zones were the plant eaters, and there was I think it was a yellow zone that was for human beings, animals that ate both. You know what I mean? So, and this is, it's nothing new. It's just a recycling back into this point now where we have an opportunity to choose which way we want to go.
Van Dorn, did you want to say something?
No, I'm just yes. I say yes. That's what I have to say.
Okay, so we are. It's getting late. I was thinking about the Diddy Circus. I think is going to create or has created an awareness that we need better music, better rapping, better, cleaner, more holistic music and creativity. So that was, in a way, that was a good thing in my mind, that all that evil was brought out, because now people are thirsting for something that is holistic and healthier.
There are some circles that use terms like self-serving and service to self and service to other. And in that community of people who use those words is also the word distortion. So human beings have been systematically programmed to run distortions, distortions of consciousness, where let's just say hate, self-hatred first and foremost, and hatred of other rule the day. So it is our job to raise the frequency of consciousness so that people can once again remember who and what they are, that they are love embodied, and that they can stop hating on themselves first and foremost, so that they can stop hating on others, so that we can actually transform the experience that we're living in. There's a whole lot of transformation that is available to us. It's a matter of choice. How many people are going to choose to leave that pool of unawareness behind and walk into the light that is actually available to them through their hearts? And so there are lots of ways that gets to be activated. And that's everybody's individual path in terms of how does the love become activated in the individuals. That's an individual path. It's nobody's business but the individual who's having the experience. And so anything that we can allow to flow through our consciousness to help shine some light on someone else's path, to help them remember, put back together who and what they are, that's our job. So I'm saying let's roll. Yeah.
Real quick, the approach to that is to get rid of some of the expectations. Try to live in the moment.
Yes.
And then while living in the moment, you learn that you already are imbued with love. You become the vibration of abundance. Yes. The expectations is what drives people to want to get a record deal from someone like P. Diddy, and they're willing to do everything or anything, even selling their dignity, selling themselves short, just to get it put on. And these entities in human form prey on the desperation of these individuals who are trying to get, where they're at, you know what I mean, and take advantage of them. It's like an initiation, you know what I'm saying? So expectation when it comes to emotions, also is the trigger for a lot of, downfall in society. Also, when people are not living in the moment, like, okay, I may not have a lot of money, but I have an abundance of love. I may not have a big house, but I have a roof over my head, or, people distorted, like you mentioned, has gotten distorted that, money must be the equivalence of abundance, when really the abundance of, life, air, you need air to breathe, you need cells in your body, you're healthy. You may not be rich, but you can be on that path too. Just like anything, it takes focus and attention. But living in the moment helps to move yourself forward. That's what the infinity was about, shifting through those frames a billion times a second, slowing things down to speed things up. Don't rush to move or be a part of the fast life, because it ends quickly and abruptly and can do a lot more harm to you. If you slow the frames down, you'll start to pick the ones that you want. But this information is the new metaphysics that you had to gain awareness of in order to know what's happening and how movement works. Movement works with what you see and what's translated, from your optics and processed in your brain. So we're just responding to the things that are moving around us, and we're responding to those things, or over responding to the things that we think we like. Just because it's flashes on the television, we give it a certain justification that it must be all right, that it must be okay, or why would they show it? When you have to take responsibility for yourself as an incarnated being, as a God in flesh, a creator, and create your reality, and take responsibility for what you need to grow love out of yourself and be that example. So some people just try too hard, and when they don't get what they want, if it don't turn out the way they think it should have turned out in their mind, they go crazy and they lose it, and then they get desperate, and that's when they can get taken advantage of.
Well, something that you said, Imam, reminded me of the simple fact that there's only one place that love lives. That's in the here and now. So something that you said about wishing for, wanting for, you didn't use those terms, but that's what you were talking about, wishing for and wanting for. Wish for, want for, forever. That's not what you're not going to find love in the past or love in the future. You're only going to find love now, because that's it. That's where love lives. Okay. And so when we find our way to the here and now through focused attention, we recognize that we are love embodied. Okay. And then that opens up portals in our field, in our energy field, that people are going to respond to. I have a wife, and she says when I walk in a room, it gets people's attention. It's not anything that I'm doing consciously. It's what's happening because of where my attention is. Okay. Yeah. And so I'm not trying to do anything. I'm simply being. But in the process of being, I am present. And being present means that love gets to flow through me and use me as a vehicle. Okay. So.
And Kwame says instrumentation power is a kind of power that deploys technology to obtain ever more knowledge about individuals to make their behavior predictable and thus monetizable. That's a lot of that's a lot right there. That's one big thought there. But I think he's just affirming what you just said, Imam, about everybody's trying to monetize their life, their actions. When expecting the unexpected is not something people want to live in. Instead, it's like, I gotta have this, I gotta have that, because this person has it. But what you guys are saying is, in the moment is where we overcome. The power to overcome basically is just being in this moment, present, be present.
Well, life is an unfoldment. So it unfolds, and how you respond in that moment of its unfolding is what makes the difference in what you become. That you could be charged with the right action, the right frame of mind, but the universe has to catch up to you. So a lot of people just get impatient. So it's kind of like getting in the way of the will of heaven. Like if you just followed and dealt with what's in front of you, you'd have been rewarded beyond what you can imagine, because your higher mind or your higher self has an overview, which your third eye, you know what I mean? Your crown chakra has an overview of what's ahead. You don't. You're living in the physical frame, in the conscious mind, and you're pouring from you're collecting from your subconscious, and that's filtering out what it is that you think you see or think you want based off your belief systems and how you are emotionally at that time in that moment. So you can't see. It's like the spiraling staircase. You can't see what's around the corner. So the only thing you can deal with is what's in front of you. And that lets you know where you are, where you're supposed to be. because that's where you chose to be based off your vibration. It's all based off, your choice,
And you mentioned the one last thought here, map of consciousness. I use that a lot with David Hawkins' book Power versus Force.
Yeah,
It
that's another one.
is meant to raise our consciousness about emotions, the energy that we are carrying from day to day to day. And as we're saying here, I hope everyone's getting this in the moment, in the present moment. If you can just practice love and respect and gratitude, that's the power to overcome, in my opinion. And we're talking about unfailing love is being in this moment, being in your body, loving what you are, who you are. And then the power to overcome is being in gratitude, because gratitude is the highest vibration on that map of consciousness. And
Yes. Yep.
forgiveness,
500.
being more aware of what emotions, what energy and motion is going to help you overcome, is realizing it all has vibration. And when I look at Van Dorn's art, I look at that as, okay, that's a high vibration to me, all of it. So we can just meditate on that and just remember, being in that, watching this art just form and teach us. I think your art teaches us about the universe.
The artwork is a therapeutic medium that,
Yes.
that consciousness uses to make adjustments in the psyche of individuals that see it. Okay.
Yeah. Yes.
So
Yes. Yes.
so what we're doing is we're actually modifying states of consciousness that individuals dwell in by simply seeing the works of art. I mean, I could tell you story after story. We don't have time for any of this tonight, but story after story after story comes to me about how this artwork affects people's consciousness, how it transforms their orientation, helps to align them in ways that they didn't even know was possible. Once again, I have more stories than I can remember in the moment about how this artwork actually affects consciousness. So I like to think of myself as the Asian man in the Matrix running around with the keys. Anybody remember the guy running around with the keys in the Matrix?
Oh,
Hello?
yeah, I remember that.
That's me, okay? I'm the guy who unlocks the doors through the artwork. These are actually keys, portals for awareness to move through to elevated states.
And that's why I chose Van Dorn's art for the cover of my book, because my book is all about having faith that your body can overcome cancer or any disease. And this artwork to me represents the consciousness that anyone needs who's suffering with any type of illness, disease, or to overcome and realize that the master design is in not only in this artwork, but it's everywhere. As you pointed out, Van Dorn, that design is everywhere. And I never really thought about it until I started working with that design for my own book. And then seeing all your artwork that kept telling me this is everywhere.
Yes, right. Yeah, there are words in that triangle at the bottom, that dark blue triangle at the bottom, and
Uh-huh.
I tried
Right
to
here.
yes, I tried to recite the whole thing this past Friday. I was on a forum on a Zoom presentation that I did, but it begins with these words: "The lower is not below the higher any more than the higher is above the lower. They
Right.
Nice.
are the extreme distances that the strings upon the harp of life travel." Okay, so we're talking about yin yang, we're talking about polarity, we're talking about the dynamics of consciousness in what we call the worlds of duality. So within the worlds of duality, we have polarity. We have the masculine, we have the feminine, we have the negative, the positive, the hot, the cold, the light and the dark. All of those are unified in awareness when we come to that still point. And that be still and know that I am God is something from the Christian Bible. My contention is that means when you become still and know means to become one with. So when you become one with the creator, You are the creator. Okay, so getting still and knowing that I am the creator. And a lot of people have a lot of fun with the words I am, knowing what it actually means. So, let's just say that
It's
we're having fun opening up portals of awareness. All right.
if you could show that cover again, it's funny, hitting on a lot of notes here. I am is at the beginning of my name. Actually, before it was em, it was I am. When
Oh,
it comes, I studied languages, and in languages, you can interchange the vowels. So M mock is actually how you spell the what we call the character letter M. It's no different than I'm. We just changed the phonetics from M to I'm. The I'm and the M is actually the same thing as the AM in Amen or Amun, the ancient Egyptian deity, son of Ptah.
right.
So they took the Amun and changed it to Amen. You see, the Imak. My name is Imak Kridu or Imak Keridu Ankh, revered, the key to the eternal green light. Keridu, the consonant is KDR. It's for Al Qadir, meaning the green one, the green light of healing, the heart chakra. So my name means one who opens up the door to eternal life by way of the green light, like Melchizedek was a reflection of the green light in human form. The angel Michael, Tahuti from ancient Egypt, Ta, Ninkashita, etc. But on the cover of this book, what you see here, they call this a Vesica Pisces or Vesica Pisca, where you have two circles that are overlapping one another. It's actually, when you turn it to the side, it's the belly of a fish. And that was the birth of the Pope wearing a cap that was in the shape of a fish, because it meant the era of Pisces within the Dendera, the 25,000 year clock in ancient Egypt that's on the ceiling of Hathar's temple in the chapel of Asar. And we moved out of that from the Piscean era to the Aquarian era. So it was one fish going one way, another fish going the other way, which meant the balancement again. That's the yin and yang symbol. It meant balancement. We used to have a negative perspective on it, but it really has just as many good perspectives on it as the bad ones. But when you lean more towards the bad ones, and that because it has something to do with the Pope. But this is also an explanation of the dimensions of human existence and connection. In actuality, there's a third circle that would overlap the one in the middle. And then what you would have is the bottom circle. Each circle represents 8 notes, an octave. That's the realm of human existence right there. From dark matter, from dark energy to the stillness or the one, as you said, all is in one. And this is what it turns into. This first circle will represent the human existence. The second circle will represent the angelic existence or extraterrestrials or archetypes. The third circle will represent the abode of the one or all that is. And all that is the representation of everything that exists from the one, which remains in stillness. Because the one thing, because there's nowhere for it to go, because it already exists everywhere. So that means everything exists inside of it. So I was just digging, and in the background you have here is like the
Oh,
cones of
yeah.
beehive, right?
Bees.
That's usually emblematical of masonry, busy bees. So these it's reflecting more than what you realize. I'm just digging the
I'm like,
imagery.
this is so mind blowing to me.
By the way, 3 times 8 is 24. Our clock here is 24 hours in a day. The moon is 240,000 kilometers away. This is what they call Project 24, and we live within the circumference of 25,000 year cycle or 25,000 year cycle, coming from the Kali Yuga to the Maharita.
Yeah.
I just wanted to, point that out.
And so there's a lot of energy.
And look, it's black and gold like a bee.
Yeah. There's a lot of energy and attention that's been placed in some metaphysical communities on this thing called the Merkaba. Merkaba, it is actually 24 equilateral triangles. Okay. and so we don't have time to talk about variations on that theme. But I will tell you that I have some interesting medicine hanging in the ceiling. Can everybody that can see what's behind my head there? That's actually a 48 faced polyhedron. So you go from 24 faces, the macabre, to a 48 faced polyhedron. And so you have 24 equilateral triangles and you have 24 kite faces. And that's all I'm going to say about that form. But that form is a transmitter of cosmic energies. And that's all I'll say about that also. Yeah. Everything in my house is kind of like pumping that kind of juice, if I may use that.
That's awesome.
I have to give a testimony here
coming off the wall.
because you just blew my mind about that cover. Because when Van Dorn texted that cover to me, I was like, "Oh!" It just resonated with me so strongly that this is what I did. I made T-shirts. Remember, I made T-shirts out of that design. And I went to Chicago with 2 T-shirts. My girlfriend and I walked around Chicago with that designer, and we were just, "Oh, we love this." Everybody would say, "Oh, I love that." And then I'm a Pisces. So I didn't know about the Vivica Pisces. I don't know if you told me that, Van Dorn, about that design.
Yes, of course.
But I'm a Pisces. So it's like I'm feeling synchronistic energy so powerful about that whole cover. It's like mind-blowing.
Yeah, you're out there broadcasting a wake-up call, okay?
I'm telling you.
Big time.
No idea. But that's the way the Most High works with me. I read a scripture the other day that said, "When you feed the poor, you will have no lack." When I read that, I'm like, I feed the poor all the time. You know those people holding those little cardboard signs, I need this. I'm like, "Oh, where's my money? I'm always ready to give. And people say, "Oh, you shouldn't do that. You don't know what they're going to do. They might buy some drugs. They might." I'm like, I'm riding in an air-conditioned car, and this man standing out there in 100-degree heat. I'm going to give him a couple of dollars. And I felt like that's why that art that you showed me was like guidance. It was divine guidance to do what we're here doing right now in this moment. It brought us to this moment because I don't have any need to be monetizing and working hard to make money and do this, that. It was just showing me I don't have any lack. And so I can spend my time bringing people together like tonight to share this truth and this love. So gratitude for both of you sharing.
Gratitude to you both.
There's a sister that she was born in America. She lives in Africa. She's taking a bunch of people on a tour right now in Egypt. Her name is Enolia Foti. And she interviewed me on her program called Infinite Way Podcast. Okay. It's titled Infinite Way Podcast. It took place in May of this year. And she sent me an email for a quote from the Emerald Tablet, and I was trying to find it real quick, but it was basically the children of God are here to serve the children of man. That's the quote from the Emerald Tablet that she shared with me via email just within the last 24 hours. So let's church up, y'all.
Yeah, don't forget to check me out also on SoundCloud.com. under the name Imakh, IMAKH. As the topic is love, you know what I mean? I appreciate some people to come and visit me on there. It's beautiful music on there, conscious music on there, it's clean. And hearts up. Make sure you when you play the song, hit the heart at the bottom. You know what I mean? I can see those hearts go up. That builds up the algorithms and the monetization and all that other stuff. You know what I mean? But that's one way you can show love. You know what I mean? If for those that might be interested, I have a library of music on there. You can
SoundCloud.com. Mm-hmm. And what else did you have say about that?
Well, you can visit the site, sign up, and there's all kinds of beautiful music on there: Christian music, gospel music, reggae music, and these are all independent underground artists whose talents you'll never hear on the radio. Yeah, you see what I'm saying? So. This is where kind of like a musical streaming platform where we have gathered And man, it's just beautiful music out there. I've been more inspired by the music there than I've been on anything I've heard on the radio. And all we look is there's no money. We're just looking for those hearts to go up.
Yes.
You know, the visits to the page, a comment mentioned about the work. You know what I mean, that we put out there. You know, so that's another way of I was talking with where I was coming from about showing love, where there is a community of people already gathered, rappers, R&B artists, gospel singers, spiritualists that have already gathered on a platform to showcase high vibrational music.
Absolutely.
And,
So
and I have them attached
give
to
me
my
a thumbs up tonight and like and subscribe. And there's my Cash App. I always put that out. If somebody wants to donate, feel free. No pressure at all. The $, Viyahta Robinson. And we're just so I'm just so amazed tonight at what has been brought out, and so grateful. And I think we got one more comment here. Regina says Imok on SoundCloud. Yes, that's exactly. Imok is on SoundCloud.
only one there with that name.
There's a lot of clean music on SoundCloud.
Yes. Oh
Yeah.
yeah. I focus
Okay.
on that.
Yeah, a
So-
lot of consciousness raising is going on SoundCloud. Yes, a lot.
Okay. And I got to get on there. I got to get off YouTube. YouTube. I'm so tired of hearing about it. Charlie Kirk. It's like I'm leaving YouTube. It's like
I have stuff on YouTube also under the EMOC with the E
okay, you're on YouTube under
as well. EMOC with the E.
Yes.
okay.
Beautiful.
EMAKH EMOC. And an album called Radiant Alchemy. You can find that on Spotify or Amazon. You can download a couple songs. Really inspiring material.
Cool.
Soulful, very soulful. It's not the standard hip hop that you hear out there. Very soulful and uplifting. Right in the pocket. You know, the streets can relate to it. Religious people can relate to it. Spiritualists can relate to it. Politicians can relate to it. You know, because it doesn't.
They need
you know,
that.
You know, it doesn't sway too much to either side. You know.
So Mark, I like to throw a salutation at you. Okay.
Oh, blessings! Right back at you.
No. Radiate.
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 Indeed.
Yeah, radiate. That's a good one. That's
Radiate. Yes, indeed.
radiate. Okay. And blessings and love to all of you. Gratitude, much gratitude to all my yogi friends out there. Namaste.
Namaste.
Satnam. Ashe. Oh, to all my brothers and sisters. Shalom. Love. And Van Dorn had his hand up.
Oh no, I'm just waving love. That's all.
Okay.
Just waving love.
Lots of love. Just waving. All right. Radiate, everybody. Radiate.
I can't see. Sure.
All right. So everybody have a good night and have a good week.